See, I don't like this. You know,
Yo, this is In the Paint, the realest show in sports. I'm Max611, and my brother, Big Brother R, isn't with us tonight. But we are here. I'm going to talk sports, and we are going to talk sports. I got my brother Chandler. I'm going to bring him in.
What's up, man?
How you doing tonight, brother?
Just tired and in pain. What's going on?
All right, I'm good. Hanging in there. I got a haircut. You know, I needed that. I was looking a little scruffy.
I wouldn't know anything about haircuts.
Well, that's because you bald.
Mm-hmm.
You bald. So, you ready to start this?
Yeah, go ahead.
NFL playoffs. The first game I'm going to talk about, the Buffalo Bills defeated the Indianapolis Colts 27-24 for the Buffalo Bills' first playoff win in 25 years. What are your thoughts on what transpired in this game?
Well, I expected Buffalo to win.
Right.
I didn't think the game would be as close as it was.
Right.
Colts had a shot to win, but we watched Phillip Rivers, who suddenly couldn't throw a ball. It was a weird game because there was a lot of poor decisions by both coaches.
Right.
But you know what? Congratulations to Buffalo. They beat a team they should have beat. Although, like I said, I thought the Colts had a shot, but I think Buffalo needs to play a lot better going forward if they want to advance.
Right. Good. It was a good game, like you said. It was closer than it should have been. And right, Phillip Rivers did what Phillip Rivers does. He just can't get a win sometimes, and so they take the L, and it's surprising that Indianapolis made the playoffs because nobody really expected them to make the playoffs this year or be as good as they were because they were surprisingly good. Where do you think Indianapolis goes from here? Do they keep Phillip Rivers for another year, or should he retire because he's approaching 40?
Well, I thought he should have retired last year. They need a different quarterback, and I don't know why Frank Reich is so in love with him. Because I think Jacoby Brissett is better at this stage.
Right.
I would have said they probably would have Carson Wentz next year, but what happened in Philly, that's out the window. So at this stage, to me, either they go after a Sam Darnold, Mitch Trubisky type, or they bring Rivers back for another season of just above mediocrity, you know what I'm saying, or just above average play. So
Right. And my brother in the chat room, in my chat, my brother Jermaine said they need to draft a quarterback. I don't know where they're picking. So a quarterback might not be available to them, or the quarterback that is a high level quarterback.
No, it would be a project. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Frank Reich take a project on.
Right.
You know, like he was the guy that we thought if Dwayne Haskins could ever grow up, and if he was to ever get another opportunity, Frank Reich is the type of guy that I think he could go to, to kind of learn how to play and be a professional.
Right.
So we'll see.
Right. Josh Allen came through. I know me and you have had discussions, and you and not really like him, but I was always sort of quiet, just letting him play. And system they run suits his talents fine. You know, they don't do anything exotic, and they got good receivers, and they play well within. He plays within himself.
Well, the thing with Allen was that he was much like Mitchell Trubisky. He was a guy who was drafted too high, and he was inaccurate. He was an athlete playing quarterback, but what he did, which I'll give him a lot of credit for, and why I don't understand why some of these other guys aren't doing, is over the season he basically went and rebuilt his throwing motion, his footwork.
Right.
He did everything possible in the offseason to become a better quarterback.
Right.
You would think that Daniel Jones and Mr. Trubisky would do something like that. They didn't. And you see the difference in his game.
Right.
I mean, he's accurate now.
Right.
I mean, he was a guy who, when they first got Stephon Diggs, were like, well, if you hated playing with Kirk Cousins,
right,
you're going to hate playing with Josh Allen because he's going to keep throwing the ball at your feet because all he could do was throw a deep ball. Now he can throw all of the balls. So, good for him and good for the organization. Finding a place for him to work with in the offseason who could tear him down and build him back up. Right. And you know what? If these other guys, the Trubiskys, Daniel Jones, even Cam Newtons of the world, want to get better at throwing the ball, maybe they should take a page out of Josh Allen's book.
Right. I know a lot of New Yorkers are happy. Those in the city are happy for Buffalo because we don't have much to be happy about in football land, so we happy for Buffalo. And they look like a team that's on the come up. I'm not gonna predict where they're going. I don't think they're Super Bowl bound this year, but they do have a good team. They're exciting. They're gonna get better. Anything else you want to say about the Colts or the Bills?
No. I mean, I think you said it all.
Let's move on to surprising the Rams beating the Seattle Seahawks. What do you think? What did you think of that game?
I thought that was the worst game of the entire weekend. It was the most non-competitive. It was a game that from the very beginning you could see that the Rams were going to win. And then based on Pete Carroll's comments today, I don't think they're going to win very much going forward. He, for whatever reason, refuses to commit to a passing game with Russell Wilson. He refuses. And we saw evidence of that. Now, yes, did Russ throw some more interceptions? Yeah, if you throw the ball more, there's a chance for more interceptions.
Right.
But you can't run the ball. Your running backs, listen, they're okay at best. Okay, your running backs are okay at best, and you insist on we're going to run. Okay, how'd that work out for you? Because except for that one scramble drill, you would have only scored 13 points in that game. All right? You can't get the ball to DK Metcalf to save your life unless it's on a scramble drill now because DK Metcalf, as talented as he is, he gets taken out of the game by top flight corners too much. Now, listen, maybe there was one corner who took Jerry Rice out of a game. Maybe there was one corner who could take Michael Irvin out of the game. And I'm not saying DK Metcalf is them, but when you're a number one receiver, every real number one corner, you can't be taken out of the game like that. You got to show up. And DK Metcalf, he gets frustrated. You can see it. So his route running becomes sloppier. His frustration, he allows them to take him out of the game with his frustration and in the fact that Pete Carroll refuses to throw the damn ball. So this is all on Pete Carroll and his offensive, his play calling and their offensive philosophy. Because there's no way in hell you're supposed to lose to the Rams with a guy named John Wolford who's starting, and then you got Jared Goff with a broken thumb. I'm sorry, you're not supposed to lose to them. I understand the Rams defense is great, but you're supposed to score more than you scored against that. I'm sorry, you missed me with that, man. No, this is all on Pete Carroll and their offensive philosophy.
Right. I see our brother David is in the house. David, you want me to bring you in? What's up, David? How you doing tonight?
What's up? How you doing?
Good. We talking NFL wild card playoffs. We were discussing the Seattle Seahawks versus the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams took that game 30-20. Did you watch?
I didn't watch that. I didn't watch that one. So
okay.
I was surprised when I saw the results, but no, I wasn't watching it.
Okay. Chandler brought up some good points.
Yeah, I heard Chandler. Yeah.
The Rams play good defense. They have one of the best defenses in the league, so they shut you down. And Seattle gave up 30 points to an injured Jared Goff and a nobody.
Yeah.
Yeah, shows you how much or how little I know. I heard people talking about a guy without a thumb, and I was like, "Wait, Jared Goff doesn't have a thumb?" And then I realized, okay, he has a broken. I was like, "Oh, that's a story in itself." We got like a Jim Abbott situation.
Right. And he probably wasn't supposed to play. He wasn't supposed to play at all this game, and they knocked the backup out. So he had to come in and do what he has to do. And like Chandler said, it's on Pete Carroll, but your defense should not give up 30 points.
No, I agree. Again, like I didn't watch, but I was a little surprised. But it was an interesting weekend of football anyway.
Right.
Okay.
We did discuss the Buffalo game. Did you see the Buffalo game, David?
That I saw a little bit of. I was like in and out of things over the weekend, so I was sort of like peeping at my phone and looking at scores. But yeah, I was happy for Buffalo. You know, that at the end it kind of looked like, they're gonna give this up. But because they went up by 2 touchdowns, and then looked like they were gonna give it away. But yeah, I was really happy for Buffalo, and that was the first time that they had fans in the stands too.
Right. I think they had almost 7,000 people attend that game.
Yeah. So this was the first time. My son went to school up in Buffalo, so he went to UB. So I got to know a little bit about the city. Back in the '90s, I hated the Bills. I'm Jets fan, and then the Super Bowl with the Giants, and them going to 4 straight and losing. I had no sympathy. But when my son was going there, and I got to know a little bit about the city, I met some really nice people, and I saw how much it would mean to them. And so I had a different perspective about it. So I'm happy. I don't know how far they'll go, but this has been a good ride for them.
Yeah. I've never hated Buffalo, and I had a friend that went to Buffalo State.
Yeah.
So been up there to visit. Buffalo is it's a cool city. It's a cool city.
If you're in the right part.
Right.
And that can go either way. You put me in the middle, right down Main Street. You veer to the left, you're in one kind of Buffalo. You veer to the right,
Right. And if you're smart, keep going north and end up in Toronto.
That's right.
I know you mentioned the 90s. In the 90s, I didn't mind them, except for when they played the Giants.
Right.
For the Bears against the Giants, but I always I liked O.J. Simpson.
Oh yeah.
I liked O.J. Simpson when I was a kid. I think everybody liked O.J. Simpson as a kid.
I would disagree with that.
You didn't like O.J. as a kid?
No. I knew a long time ago that O.J. had decided he didn't want to be black, so I never did.
Oh, okay.
Well, you know what? I move away from OJ when he became an announcer, because prior to then you didn't hear a lot of players talk, and you didn't hear about their philosophies or their backstories and stuff. So, but OJ the player I liked.
Yeah.
Him the announcer, I'm like.
Yeah. And the movie, the actor.
Yeah. He was like the Terry Crews of this generation.
That is true. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, Terry Crews is like him, just without the knife.
There you go.
Terry Crews is actually worse, but yeah,
Yeah,
Buffalo the city. I never dislike like some New York City people. They don't mess with the Buffalo Bills like
yeah,
that. I'm not
yeah.
but let's move on a little. If y'all don't have anything else to say about that game or the Rams versus the Seahawks game. All right. Tom Brady, Tampa Bay Bucks. He outduels a nobody, 31-23 over the Washington franchise. What do y'all think of this game?
That's one I definitely didn't watch.
Right.
But Tom Brady, it's very interesting though. I don't know what that does to either legacy, Brady or Belichick. I know there was, talk beginning, before the season started about, can Brady win outside of Belichick's system, and can Belichick do without Tom Brady? Well, Brady is in and Belichick isn't, but I don't tie too much to that. They're two different teams, and the Patriots, are not the Patriots that we known in the past few years. So I don't put too much stock in it either way.
Right. Listen, he's a Hall of Famer, whether
Absolutely.
you like him or not, whether you think he's just a cheater, because they did cheat and they got cheated. But he's a Hall of Famer, and he proved once again he still got some life left in his body. And
I have to ask, is that the jersey you're going to wear? Are you going to pull out Tom Brady jersey?
No, it's going to be some Celtics crap.
Okay. All right. I don't know which is worse.
Either way, I'm going to be sick that night.
Yeah.
The problem with the Tampa's game, that game against Washington, number one, that speaks to just how terrible Ron Rivera is, in that you had the best quarterback on the roster who you never gave an opportunity to play. Listen, I know it's a small sample.
You sound a little muffled, Chandler.
Anyway, I know it's a small sample size with Heineke,
right?
But you went through Kyle Allen, hobbled Alex Smith, and immature Dwayne Haskins,
right?
And you never once gave this kid an opportunity, and he's the best of the bunch.
Right. He was balling.
And they should have won that game. They didn't win that game because, as you move, some of the guys drop balls they should have dropped and stuff like that. I mean, some of those drops, man, were just ridiculous. But I look for, this is to me, this is about the fact that Tampa Bay, I don't care what everybody wants to, they're playing better than this and that. Listen, that game is not supposed to be close at all.
Right.
You're playing against a guy who is starting a playoff game for the first time. It's only his second ever start. Okay? And you beat them by 2 points. 2 points. That's all you can do, beat them by 2 points. Yes, their defense is that good, but you're supposed to outscore them like nobody's business. Okay?
Right. And they did have a losing record.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. To me, it says far more about just Ron Rivera and his nonsense, and how that Tampa Bay is not going any further, and had they had any sort of just better play from their receivers, Tampa Bay would have been one and done. So.
Right. Tampa Bay, you get by Washington. I think they're an okay team. They're not great, but they're an okay team. And Tom Brady can still play. They got a solid defense. They're solid on offense. So, but I don't think they're going to win. And to David's point, Tom Brady's legacy is his legacy. We can't take anything away from it. He's still one of the greats. Bill Belichick, still a great coach. They just need to, if he stays in New England, they just need to retool and spend some money because they famously don't spend any money.
Yeah, well, I find it interesting that, and you might get that. I don't want to, the guy that got hired in Houston came from this team that everybody says hasn't been drafting well, but now everybody wants to tell me how much he was involved in the player personnel department. So, anyway, yeah, like I said, I wasn't impressed with Tampa Bay did. I was more impressed with the kid Heineke, and again, unimpressed with Ron Rivera. So to me, it was just, I don't know, two teams, man. I'm like, really? That's the best you could do, really?
Right. Hey, the Bucks managed to get to 11-5, probably because of the sort of the division they played in, and also they had an okay schedule that had some beatable teams on it. And Washington lucked out, getting from the NFC least and getting in the playoffs.
Yep.
Yeah. We got Ronan in the chat room. Peace, Ronan. Anything else y'all want to add about Tampa Bay and Washington?
You know the game we want to talk about.
So you want to go to that one first?
No, we can go through the thing.
We can go through it.
The real game that matters.
What, the Steeler game?
Hell no.
Lamar Jackson in Baltimore? Oh, that was next anyway. But before we go to that, Ronan says Tampa has a weak secondary. Outside of Shaq Barrett, they have trouble generating a consistent pass rush. He's right on that. I think what's his name is on his last legs. JPP.
Yeah.
A little long in the tooth.
And last fingers.
Huh?
Last fingers too.
Yeah. He's a little long in the tooth. They're gonna lose in the next round, I believe. But
who they got next?
Oh, we are moving on to the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson, who showed up and showed out as they defeated the Tennessee Titans 20-13. What are you guys' thoughts on that one?
Listen, all of the people who kept trying to create a fake narrative.
Yes.
Lamar Jackson, fastest ever to 30 wins. Lamar Jackson has been in the playoffs every year he's been a starter. Other guys in his draft class, they're just now making the playoffs. Oh, but he can't win this and he didn't win that. Peyton Manning win his first playoff game. He was 22nd. Lamar Jackson, I think it's going to be 24 something. So it was a BS narrative that was only being applied to him. Okay, you had the number one overall pick in the draft who hadn't even made the playoffs yet. But nobody talked about. Everybody wants to talk about. Oh, he gets so much better, and 8 million progressive commercials. Maybe stop doing a commercial and make the playoffs, whatever. But I love what happened. I love what they did. Listen, stop trying to make up these narratives around that. Oh, he should have shook hands. Why? They don't like each other. Those two genuinely do not like each other. I'm not shaking hand if I don't like you.
Can't hear you.
Because I can't hold the phone.
Right.
I said, they keep trying to make up these narratives about Lamar. Now it's, he should have shook hands. Poor sportsmanship. These teams don't like
who?
They didn't shake hands with Tennessee. They didn't. You know how everybody likes to mill around after the game, hug everybody, and all that.
Okay.
Tennessee and Baltimore don't like each other. All right. They genuinely don't like each other. If I don't like you, I'm not shaking your hand. I'm not saying how's your family. I beat you. I stomped on your logo. Keep it moving. All right. I got nothing to say to you. I don't care how your family is. I don't want to know where you're going on vacation. Go home. Okay. So I love, and the fact that listen, as much as I love Derrick Henry, now he's not brittle like
Right.
DMC, Darren McFadden, but he's similar to Darren McFadden in that if you catch him behind the line of scrimmage, he becomes just an average runner. And they said to the Titans, beat us throwing the football. And the Titans couldn't beat them throwing the football. Then Ryan Tannehill at the end turned into Ryan Tannehill and did what Ryan Tannehill does, which is throw a dumb interception. This is all about Lamar to me and that defense. The fact that basically what everybody said was, oh, they're not going to be able to stop Derrick Henry. They came out, smashed them.
Yeah.
And they only ran for 263. And I say only 263 because, listen, I think next game they're running for like 350.
Well, we'll see. Just to add on to what you said, they shut down the big boy. They shut down the big back. And once, like you said, once they did that, it didn't play to Tennessee's strengths. And Tannehill is Tannehill. You made them throw when they didn't want to throw. You stopped the run, which is what was their bread and butter all season. And they stopped them, and they carved them into the ground on the ground with Lamar Jackson. Also, the other false narrative, Chandler, is that people during the season now, Baltimore is 11-5. They went through a little stretch where they had some injuries to their offensive line, and they lost a couple of games, and Lamar wasn't as good as Lamar can be, as we saw like yesterday. People saying, oh, he fell off. I'm like, he fell off? What are you watching? And saying, oh, this is the end as he been figured out. I'm like, what are you watching? His offensive line is dinged up. Some of their running backs were dinged up, and suddenly he carves a team in the playoffs. He's been playing good the last 2-3 weeks. David, you want to add anything?
Just that certain types of quarterbacks don't get the same benefit of the doubt.
Right.
And that's, that is what it is. I'm not even gonna, sweat it, but that is what it is.
Right. Anything else, Chandler?
No, just like I said, I think it's interesting, and I totally agree with what David said. If Lamar Jackson was a lot lighter and looked more palatable for like he could be packaged for consumption to a different demographic, we wouldn't hear half of what we hear about.
Right. What do we hear when we hear certain quarterbacks when they come out of college? Oh, he's a matinee idol. What is that? As it relates to football.
Exactly. Is he playing a football player in a movie or?
Right. Right.
And they quarterback that I play one on TV.
Right. Exactly.
Right. And they talk about his jawline and his looks. I'm like, he in a helmet. I don't know what half these guys look like.
And first of all, if you're a guy and you're talking about somebody's jawline, and that's everybody can like football. I'm not saying, but that wouldn't be the first quality that, we got to draft a guy with a good jawline.
I'm surprised at what they drafting these guys for, David. I'm telling you. It ain't about how they play the game. A lot of the times, man, it's about how they package it.
Yep. I know.
I've been seeing that term for years, many decades. Matinee idol. What the hell is that got to do with him hitting the receiver going across the middle?
Yeah. Marketability.
Yeah. Right. And Lamar's a running athletic quarterback, so they don't like that. And that quarterback that we used to see that used to stand there that stuff is done.
Right.
They want quarterbacks who are tall and who can move. Well, so they say, right, Chandler?
Yeah, so they say. As long as they look a certain way.
Right.
But I think it's going to be interesting to know what Tennessee does going forward because I think they've gone as far as they can go with Ryan Tannehill. Now, you want to talk about somebody who's kind of reached their ceiling. I don't see how you get much past, depending on the matchups. I think the furthest you can get with Tannehill is the AFC Championship game, which is fine if that's all. If that's what your organization's goal is to constantly be relevant in the conversation every year. But if your goal is truly a Super Bowl, I don't see how you win a Super Bowl with Ryan Tannehill. Now, the fact that we thought the championship Tannehill speaks volumes about how terrible four was, and we've addressed that any time I'm not giving them oxygen. But I still think that they've gone about the they're going to need at some point decide is this what we want to do? You know, when they contender or possibly a
keep fading in and out.
No, sorry, I said they need to decide if they want to be constantly a bridesmaid and never a bride, or if they ever want to actually be a bride. Because I think with Tannehill, you're just a bridesmaid.
Right, and they need to hurry up because Henry is a running back. He had 2,000 yards this year. I love him as a running back, but you know the clock on a running back is short,
especially once they run for 2,000. Look at every running back that ran for 2,000, and look at them the next season and the season after. The drop off is stark.
Right. You talking about if he runs for 2,000 yards, that means you gave him the ball probably 300 times, or more.
And the next season, the drop off in production is just ridiculously steep, man. And we've seen it every single time. Every single time. It's not like it's been 8 times it's happened, and 8 times the drop off the next season was just very, very stark.
Right. Or, you know, if not that season was relatively okay. The following season was, you know, it's like fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
He's still relatively young, but that shelf life. Look at what happened to McCaffrey this year.
Yep.
Which me and you both said was going to happen. You know, y'all gave him the ball, you know, 25 times running, 20 times running, and he catch 8 passes. He barely.
Yeah. He can't stay healthy.
Right. They gave him the contract, and then he wasn't healthy this year.
And I don't think he's going to be healthy going forward because he's too small to be a 25 carry a game guy. I'm sorry. He is.
Right.
You want to use him, give him 25 touches, but he can't be 20 carries plus 15, you know, receptions in the game, and it's just not going to end well for the kid. He's too small to take the beating, and it's showing up now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, running backs, you know, for the most part, they have the ball. The only other one that has the ball more would be the quarterback, and they protect the quarterback.
Yep.
Nobody's protecting the running back. You just go out there, they give you the ball, and everybody, you know, it's like back in the days, kill the man with the football.
Yep.
You know, and that kind of pounding constantly, you know, if they're not reaching, you know, like say like someone like Barkley, you know, he stays injured, so he doesn't even to get to maximize. You know, so he might have a little more left in the tank because he hasn't played as much.
Right.
But you know, these guys that stay healthy, there's a backside of that, and that it speaks to their longevity.
Right.
You just can't do that.
Right. Frank Gore is the exception.
Yeah,
he's played 17 years.
Yeah.
You know how I feel about Frank Gore. So,
how do you feel about Frank Gore?
I am not a fan. I loved him in college. I'm not a fan. He's a compiler. He's what we call in baseball a compiler. Okay? You know, you look at his numbers and you're like, but he's hit the marks to make the Hall of Fame.
Right.
And that's why he's going to get in. But no one's ever going to, when you start talking about great running backs in the game, Frank Gore's name is not going to come up in the first 15 minutes of that conversation. I'm sorry.
listen, he was good. Wasn't great.
Right.
I can't remember Frank. I can't remember. There's not a memorable Frank Gore run I can think of.
Nope, not one. In college, you can name one. Can you name one in the pros? Nope.
Right. And that's not an indictment of him. Listen, he's consistently been good.
Yep.
But consistently good shouldn't get you into the Hall of Fame, but the numbers get you in. So
yeah, well, that's how I feel about the Hall of Fame in general. You know, I keep saying it. You know, they need to have, if they're gonna have the Hall, they need another wing, because there's elite and then there's, you know, some others. So I don't know. Yeah.
Right. He was not a game changer. I don't dislike him, and I don't like him like that. He was all right. You know, he was cool.
He gets the Hall of Longevity.
There you go.
Hall of Longevity. The Hall of Longevity. Y'all are bad. I think Baltimore, Lamar Jackson quieted some of those people that have been talking bad about him in the middle of the season. It's pretty much why I don't say much about when things are happening, because the season isn't over, and you can't just jump and say, oh, he fell off.
Yeah.
He's what, 24, 25?
24. He was 23, just turning 24 this year.
Right. So suddenly he fell off, and they figured him out because they had a slight patch during the season where he didn't play. He didn't play totally bad, but he didn't play great either, and it wasn't lights out. And I know people like to they jump to false conclusions. They get a little emotional, whether they like somebody or they dislike somebody. And no, he didn't fall off. He's the man. I look for him to continue to be just as good. I'm looking forward to seeing him go further in the playoffs, and possibly we get another day where he breaks some more records and leads Baltimore to victory. Baltimore has a really good defense, so that's good for their offense, because they generally don't have long fields to work with, and it makes it easier for their quarterback. Y'all want to add anything?
Who do they have? Buffalo?
I believe so.
Yeah, they got Buffalo next.
Yeah.
That's going to be a good game.
Yep.
It's going to be a real good game.
Yeah.
That's going to be a good game. Let's move on to Chandler's favorite team and favorite quarterback, or one of his favorite teams and quarterbacks. The coach of that team he really, really loves. New Orleans beat the New Orleans Saints beat the Chicago Bears 21-9, and Mitchell Trubisky and their coach and that team, that's one of Chandler's favorite teams.
Yeah. It's because, you know, like I said, I mean, you moved up in the draft for a guy that's that, and I finally heard it said about him, like they've been saying about young black quarterbacks. He's an athlete playing quarterback.
Right.
And that's not his fault, because it's not his fault when he was drafted the way he was. It ain't his fault.
Mm-hmm.
What bothers me, though, is the fact that the organization is failing him. Now, you can say, oh, he hasn't improved. Well, in the NFL, honestly, improvement, especially at quarterback, has so much to do with coaching, it's not funny. Now, it took 3 seasons for Matt Nagy to decide to let somebody else call plays, and suddenly Trubisky looked decent, right? It looked like a guy you could win some games with. Well, then that's on the coach, bro. I'm sorry, that's on the coach.
Right.
You know, and again, if the Chicago Bears, I almost said Bulls, another terrible team in Chicago, but if they couldn't figure out how to do what Buffalo did with Josh Allen,
right,
that's on the organization once again, because Buffalo took their athlete playing quarterback and turned them into a quarterback who's a hell of an athlete playing the position.
Right. Same like Baltimore did with Lamar Jackson.
Exactly. So, look, Trubisky is not great. Not a good. He doesn't throw the ball well. He misses open guys. On that fourth down run, I'm sorry, you got to sell out, but at the same time, I understand the business decision because you're playing for an organization that you might not be there. You know that they probably gonna let you go. So you think I'm gonna get my neck broken for you? Absolutely not. Miss me with that. If I make it, I make it. If I don't, I don't. But I need to try to get another check in this league. So I don't blame him for that business decision. But we saw once again how limited the Bears are. We saw in that game just how you haven't given this kid help. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, how the hell do you miss that dude? You got to listen. They got to cut you the minute you drop that ball in the end zone. You got to get cut. Give me your jersey. Take the jersey off. Give it to me. Here's some bus fare. You ain't getting on our bus. You go get on a Chicago City bus, man. Get the hell up out of here, man. That's just awful. That's just
right. My thing with Trubisky, when they first got him, the first season, what's this? His fourth season?
Yep.
The first season, partway through, they let him play freely and naturally, which is they didn't ask him to try to read defenses. They gave him one read once, and the receiver's right there. Or, they had him dump off to the running back. They let him run the ball a little. They ran a little pistol. And they won some games. And then Nagy decided to try to turn him into a quarterback without actually teaching him how to be a quarterback. And they look the way they look. Their defense also saved them the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I like about them is Khalil Mack.
Right.
Because he's from UB. He went to Buffalo when my son was there. So that's the only thing I like about that. Other than Chicago, I'm not interested. Did y'all see the shirt Drew Brees had on?
The what?
The shirt Drew Brees had on.
Yeah.
No, what shirt did he have?
So he had the say her name shirt.
Yes.
And they're trying to, they're wondering if this was. Yeah, apparently they've been wearing it off and on all season. But
the Saints have?
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't aware.
But given some of his comments previously, about the kneeling and stuff,
right.
Some people were wondering if he was tying that to the woman that was killed in the Capitol. Because
nonsense to me, David. Honestly, it's you know what? At a certain point, you're just looking for something to damn be mad about. They were wearing those shirts a lot. Malcolm Jenkins had on the same shirt in the same game. Okay, in the same warm up, he had on that same shirt. But now it's you know what? Everything doesn't have a sinister motive. Sometimes sometimes something is exactly what it is. And if you want to turn to something else, you can. But I thought that was the most ridiculous nonsense I'd heard. I really did. If he had a different type of shirt on, you understand what I'm saying? And all that. Oh, by the way, the comments was made before the season started. Has he said anything since? I mean, people.
Yeah. I didn't put a lot of stock into it, but I saw somebody talking about that today, and I was wondering if you guys had any more information on it, but it seemed like it was just something that they all were wearing, and so it was a non-issue. But I only knew because I saw somebody wrote about it.
Yeah, because what happened was they deleted the tweet. The Saints did just to kind of shut people up. They deleted the tweet that had the picture of him wearing a shirt in it.
Okay.
Right. What are you guys' thoughts on what Breeze did say? I don't know if I think we may have spoken about it, but what are you guys' thoughts on what he said in the past?
was tone deaf. It was this stupid
Yeah.
nonsense of and the flag means this and somebody who's a damn, for lack of a better term, military groupie who don't know a damn thing about the military.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So it's ignorant white privilege.
Right.
That's all it is. Ignorant white privilege.
Yeah, I agree with that. Sometimes people they want to say something that they think that is going to get a mass approval. So I'm going to stand with this, but then they don't understand the other side of it. But from what I understand, he did once it was explained to him.
Right.
And that his teammates, stood by him. So I guess it's not an issue.
Right.
It's I don't mind somebody that if people make mistakes. Sometimes people choose the wrong side of something.
Right.
And if once it's pointed out to them, if they double down on it, that's when I have the problem.
Right.
But there's a lot of things that I don't know about.
Right.
And a lot of things that I might say that it could be brought to my attention why that's problematic. And then it's up to me to either say, okay, I didn't understand that, or I never saw it that way and I respect that, or I can, just be, an asshole about it and say, well, no, and then you just have to accept whatever, flames you're going to get after that. So if I'm about, I don't mind people, who learn, because we all can teach one another.
Right.
So if he's a teachable type of person, and not saying that he has to even agree, but just understand why, then I'm willing to move forward with that.
Right. And prior to that, he was perceived as a good guy.
Yeah. That's why I was surprised, when I heard, but from my understanding, once he got a full understanding of what it meant, then I think he accepted that, and it seemed like his teammates were fine with that.
Right. Anything else y'all want to say about Chicago or New Orleans? Next week is New Orleans versus Tampa Bay, Battle of the Graybeards. Something I would enjoy.
Oh yeah, there is hope
because he's got the greatest beard of greatest beards. Drew Brees versus Tom Brady. What do y'all think? 42-year-old versus a 43-year-old.
I think it's gonna be the same thing it's always been.
Mm-hmm. Which is
they're gonna lose again.
Who? New Orleans or Tampa Bay?
Yeah, Tampa Bay is gonna lose again in New Orleans because New Orleans can cover,
right?
And they can also get after the quarterback without blitzing.
Right, and they do blitz sometimes. They have a better defense, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is going to be now. The wild card is AB. Does AB show up like he did in Pittsburgh, or does he show up like he has been so far in Tampa Bay? Because let's be honest, AB, when he was in Pittsburgh and they made the playoffs, how many times did he actually show up? Name a good playoff game that Antonio Brown played. Mm-hmm. There isn't one.
Right.
So, we'll see because Chris Godwin has shown us that he's going to drop balls. Now that there's expectations. But not there's expectations. It's people are seeing it now. You understand what I'm saying? Right. They're seeing now where Godwin is he's unreliable in big moments. Even though he shouldn't be as talented as that kid is. But he's unreliable in big moments. Mike Evans can't stay healthy. And honestly, for whatever reason, him and Brady, at least twice a game, there's just a total miscommunication on routes with them and hot routes and things like that. So it's going to be interesting. I think the Saints will win because in many ways it's going to be same old.
Right. The Saints just have too much firepower everywhere. Kamara is playing lights out. You take him out, you bring in Latavius, you bring in L Train, Latavius Murray, and he's not the same running back as Kamara, but he's a good back, and there's the production stays there. Michael Thomas is somewhat healthy. He made some plays, and the other young receivers, they make plays. And Breeze is Breeze.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chandler.
This got to be Breeze last season, though. I'm sorry. This has to be his last season. He's noodle arm now, bro. This is unless you want to go forward and just basically be a run-oriented team.
Right. Which they can't be with Fournette and the other guys they have right now. For whatever reason, Fournette is talented, but he's not that guy at running back.
Yeah, never has been. He's another guy who doesn't show up in big moments, but yeah, I see Tampa, the Saints winning this, and honestly, I don't think it's that close a game. Right. I think at the end, though, Brady puts up those empty calorie numbers. Mm-hmm. And everybody said, "Oh, look, he threw for bippity boppity boo yards, and then okay."
Right, much like the season. I mean, he had games where he didn't look good, and I'm like, well, he's 43 years old. What do you expect?
Right.
And he had some games where he looked better, in moments where he did show off that he's still Tom Brady, but those come in fewer doses.
Mm-hmm.
When you get to be that age, the heart is willing, but the body sometimes, doesn't allow for it, and that's understandable.
Yeah. Let's move on to this game. David was having fun today.
Why is that?
Cleveland Browns stomped the Pittsburgh Steelers 48-37. Let me be clear that although I'm a New York Jet fan and a New York Giant fan, I do root for the Steelers.
Yeah. So I grew up rooting for those Steelers teams.
Right.
And honestly, unless they were playing the Jets, I never rooted against the Steelers.
Right.
But for some reason, yesterday, I just had a lot of satisfaction watching that Cleveland team.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird for me because, all the hype with Baker Mayfield and, I wasn't really a fan of his. And I'm not saying that I'm a fan now, but, coming out of college, he would be like a reason that I wouldn't want them to win, from some of the other stuff. But that said, I really applaud what they've done with that franchise. I mean, we go back to the days of a lot of heartache with those Cleveland teams. And, and I was usually on the other side of it, rooting against them. And then, for years, them being so bad. So seeing them and what they did with that team and that franchise, as a Jet fan, it makes me say, well, look, this is what y'all need to be looking at in terms of what to do, because you can go from the dregs of the league, doormats of the league, to now, where they are in this season. Then there is, hope if you've got the right people, making the right decisions. So that game, I tell you, it's crazy because I was doing something else, and then I looked and turned it on. It was 14-0, and I was like, "Wait, what happened?" And then
and it was 21-0.
Yeah, and it was 28-0, and I'm looking at this, and it's just like that was an old-fashioned smackdown. Now, Pittsburgh made it a little, closer in the end, but that, from what I saw,
they were never close.
No. And so they went into Pittsburgh and put it on them. And Pittsburgh, they were saying they had fans there. They were just like family of the Steelers. They didn't even let like the Browns people have their, family there to watch the game. So it was all Steelers people in there. But they must have been like looking at the exits after the first quarter. Put us back in quarantine.
Yeah, it's you know what? I've always had a soft spot for Cleveland fans
Yep.
because they've been such loyal fans and have
Yep.
have had such brutal endings.
Yes.
That was just, and let me say this: Juju Smith-Schuster was dancing on logos when they were 11-0. Okay, so miss
and
me
the other
with
kid was talking mess at the end of the game. So they just faceless gray faces in the uniform.
Yeah.
And they the same brown, but they beat you. They smacked you. Go ahead, champ.
Yeah. And if that's what it took for you to get motivated for a playoff game, then that speaks volumes about you, not about Juju Smith-Schuster. So this narrative suddenly that he was the reason the Steelers. So when they were winning, it was okay for him to dance. Once they started losing, then it was his fault they were losing. Okay, miss me with that nonsense.
Right, just like what he said before the game.
Yeah, he didn't say anything wrong.
Smacked.
Yeah, that's it.
Smacked.
And he didn't have him saying that didn't cause Pouncey, who I've been saying is a clown for a while, to shot put the first snap of the game over a 7-foot quarterback's head. All right,
into the end zone for a touchdown.
And by the way, James Conner, you could dive on that ball. Hey, Ben Roethlisberger, you could have dove on that ball instead of y'all standing looking at each other saying, I don't want it, you get it. You know what I'm saying?
Ben like my elbow, my shoulder.
Yeah,
that song by Kia came when he said my neck,
my back.
I'm not diving on shit.
Yeah, that was just, you know what, good for Cleveland. I hate Baker Mayfield, let me be very clear. I can't stand him, but they have found a coach who has, again, coaching matters at the quarterback position. The coach has put him, he's maximized what he does well and minimized what he doesn't do well. So they don't ask him to do the things where he's going to turn the ball over. They don't ask him to throw 50,000 times a game and throw them to a victory, because that's not how they're going to win. They're going to win by running the ball, play action, and then taking their shots. But this, to me, is about, if you want to talk about why Tomlin didn't go for it on 4th and 1, because he knew they wouldn't get that damn yard. He has no running backs, okay? All of y'all who told we don't need Le'Veon Bell and Le'Veon Bell this, Le'Veon Bell that, I think you would have killed for Le'Veon Bell in this game, because I think Le'Veon Bell could have got you that 1 yard. People forget Le'Veon Bell's not a small man, all right? He's bigger than damn James Conner. He's bigger than every back they got, all right?
He's better than all of them.
Right. So, yeah, that's why I said Pouncey and all you linemen who had something to say about Le'Veon, y'all finally getting what you deserve, which is to be smashed. Ben Roethlisberger, you cannot bring him back.
Yeah, you got to retire.
That's a $41 million cap hit. And they need to examine their philosophy. Now, if you're going to be a passing team, your offensive line got to get better. But you can't afford Roethlisberger and to keep the young core of that defense. So this, to me, was just the final nail in the coffin for the Roethlisberger Steelers. Yeah. This proves to them that they need to make some changes. Will they? I don't know. But this, good for congratulations to Cleveland. Congratulations to their fans. And we'll watch you get smashed in Kansas City.
Right. My boy Dave, shout out. Peace, Dave. Thank you for tuning in with us. Happy New Year. He says that the Steelers missed Bud Dupree and Devin Bush yesterday. Yes. Which I agree. But Pouncey set the tone of the game by throwing the ball into the end zone on the snap.
Mm-hmm.
And I said this, like we watch football games or we watch any sport, and a certain play just foreshadows what's going to happen. And I was like, they're going to lose. And Pouncey made several bad snaps during the game. And Ben is 37, 38. It's time for him to go. He gets dinged up during the seasons, and he's 38. So it's time.
It's time.
Connor isn't the running back that they thought he was. He also gets dinged up, and he's not as good as Le'Veon Bell. And their receivers, I like them. They're young. athletic, good receivers. The Pittsburgh Steelers always have good receivers. They need a good quarterback now. And like Chandler said, this is the end for Ben.
What happened to Pittsburgh? I mean, they went from 11-0, and we're talking about undefeated, or Super Bowl bound team to in their last 6 games, including yesterday, they won 1 game.
Right. Black At You Production said, how do you go 12-0 and then lose a wild card game to the Browns? Well, one, the Browns are that good, Black At You, and Pittsburgh was playing with house money. They were getting lucky in certain games and winning games. Luckily, some of their schedule was soft, but you win you do what's in front of you. You win those games, and then they had a little losing streak. Go ahead, Chandler.
As the competition got better down the stretch, where they started playing defenses that figured out that they couldn't run the ball, and that's what I mean by competition got better, because even though they started playing some teams that didn't have winning records, but those teams had good defenses and good coaches, and coaches who understood, well, they can't run the ball. So we're not going to worry about them running the ball. We're going to shut their receivers down. We're going to hit their receivers. Their receivers were dropping balls when they were 11-0.
Right.
Okay, well, now if we keep hitting them and they keep dropping balls and we know they can't run, because people kept worrying about the run in the season. They can't run the ball. If you can't run the ball, when it gets down to that last month and a half of the season, you will get exposed. Mike Tomlin, in the midst of that 11-0 stretch, kept saying, we're not playing right. We're not playing the right way. We're not playing the right way, right? And everybody kept talking, oh, that's just Mike Tomlin trying to sound like Mike Tomlin. Okay. He told y'all from the beginning of the season that team wasn't right. Nobody listened to him. And now we see what happens. This is what happens when you're not good. At running the football, this is what happens when you can't run the football. So, yeah, they were 11-0, but that 11-0 was a mirage. It really was. Yeah. And they played a team that could expose them, that could run the ball. And like I said, the 4th and 1 is all you need to know about how Mike Tomlin felt about his team, because he didn't go for it.
Right. Black At You said he wonders how long Tomlin has left after this, and I was getting ready to ask that question.
I was going to ask the same thing.
Do y'all think it's him, or do you think it's the structure of the team, the quarterback, the offensive line being what it is because they've gotten a little long in the tooth in a running back in other situations on the team? Is it the players that he's coaching, or is it him?
I think it's the players, and I think it's the organizational philosophy, and he'll be there because that's just what Pittsburgh does. Yep. But I think if he leaves, it's because he chooses to, because the organization has chosen not to acknowledge what's going on. This feels a lot like Eli Manning to me. This feels a lot like
with him and Roethlisberger.
With him and Roethlisberger. This feels a lot like Eli Manning, in that the organization is still, but we can win with Ben. We can still, when the Giants, but Eli, we can still win with Eli if we just give him every single possible thing we could possibly give him. Dude, he's going to be a $41 million cap hit. You're not going to win with that, because you're going to have to get rid of good players. You're not going to put anything around them.
Has happened to them before. Every couple of years we say maybe Tomlin needs to go. And, Black At You just said he thinks it's the higher ups not letting him do what he needs to do. And yes, he's never had a losing season.
Never. Think about that. Never had a losing season. The worst he's ever been is 8-8. Think about that for a minute. So I think it comes down to, is the organization they gotta choose between him and Ben.
Right. And Chandler's usually they're another team, they're a mid-market team. They don't spend a lot of money in free agency. They keep guys on team friendly contracts. The most money they spend is on Big Ben, and maybe they spend money on somebody on the defensive side of the ball, but they don't spend a lot of money.
Right.
And they draft, since they are so good, they usually draft in the middle or at the bottom of the draft.
Right.
And they have great scouts because they get good players.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's going to be interesting because this is going to come down to who does the organization truly believe in? You either gonna believe in this quarterback who's 75,000 years old and has always been a drama queen, by the way. You know,
Drama
Mr.
queen, having drama.
Yeah,
Yep.
Mr. You know, I got a boo-boo and now I got to decide if I still want to play and and all of that, or are you going to finally listen to Mike Tomlin telling you this team is not built right? He's been telling you this for 2 seasons, actually. He's been telling you this for a couple of seasons that the team wasn't built right. He said it last year, even though they did, win the games they won with Duck Dodgers and Mason Rudolph.
Right.
But you dude, I'm telling you, yeah, I know it ain't his damn name. I'm keep calling them Duck Dodgers. But this comes down to, do you want to continue to live in the past with this quarterback, or do you want to do what the Steelers used to do, which is, you know what, you gonna leave a year too soon. Remember, Franco Harris didn't end his career with the Steelers.
Right.
Okay. And they kind of basically told Terry Bradshaw, listen, Terry, we love you, but yeah, it's about time for you to go, bruh. You know what I'm saying? So what are they gonna do? That's really what this comes down to.
Ronan said Pitt should look into signing Haskins to groom. They need to upgrade the running back position in the O-line.
Yep.
And also that they should look at Trubisky to prepare to move on to a new starting quarterback.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that because, again, if you take Trubisky and you actually coach him up,
right.
Again, I think that he can be a good enough game manager like Roethlisberger was when he first came in the league.
Right.
That you can win with him if you put all the other pieces around him, because you can't upgrade your D. You can't. First of all, you can't sign T.J. Watt and
they have to.
Fitzpatrick.
You can't let him walk away.
Okay, if a $41 million cap hit for Roethlisberger means you got to let at least 2 of those guys off your defense go.
Well,
all right?
then bye. I would, if it were me. Unlike what happened with the Giants had they always had a great front line, right?
Mm-hmm.
They always had good running backs. They always had good receivers around Eli. Eli was not the greatest quarterback. And Giant fans, y'all could get mad with me or whatever, but he was a middling quarterback who always showed up big in big games. I give him that. But again, they had a good offensive line, good running backs, always had good receivers, and the defensive front 4 was always good.
Yep.
When the defensive front line deteriorated and they didn't have good running backs, Eli looked bad. And the offensive line became bad. He didn't look good anymore.
Right.
You got to let – go ahead.
I just wanted to say, going back to the choice between Tomlin and Roethlisberger, they just have to look at it like this. Roethlisberger is going to get older faster than Tomlin is. What I mean, is, as a coach, he's still a young man. He's, but as a quarterback, Roethlisberger, he's not getting younger, and that age is coming on very quickly. It's coming on like a defensive lineman. So he's if it's up to making that kind of choice, he's going to have to go anyway. He's not going to be able to play much longer anyway. So I would never choose in this position. I would never choose him over Tomlin.
Right, and you don't choose an old QB over your defense, which is one of the better defenses in the league. You can't lose T.J. Watt.
Yep.
You can't lose some of the other guys on that defense.
Yep.
So Ben got to go.
Yeah, but again, it comes down to the organization choosing sentimentality
Right.
over, because remember, this isn't, the father or the grandfather Steelers. This is the son Steelers. All right.
Yep.
This ain't, Art Rooney the first. This is like Art Rooney the 17th that's now running the team. So, if he's, and as we've seen, when the kids start taking over these franchises, they honestly they start making some emotional decisions
Right.
about players versus business decisions, because they grew up with these guys. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
They were kids in the organization, and this was their favorite player.
Right.
And now you're asking them to evaluate this guy and be like, you know what, man, it's time for you to go, bro. You're not good anymore. And they honestly can't do it. They can't do it.
Listen, he is I like Ben the quarterback. Ben the person is not. I'm not rocking with him, but Ben the quarterback is a good quarterback. He probably gets in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
based on his numbers and winning Super Bowls and going to playoffs and showing up in big games.
Listen,
he goes in as a all-time Pittsburgh Steeler, which he probably will.
Yeah,
retire, bruh.
That ain't happening, bro. Listen, it's $30 million. He ain't retiring. It's $30 million.
I know.
All right, but the thing with Roethlisberger is, if you get him to take that cap hit to half, right?
Right.
Meaning he's gonna have to take far less than $30 million. He can't. Matter of fact, he can't take more than 20. All right. The most he can take is 20.
Up in bonus money.
Right.
Like related to the cap. Go ahead,
yeah. If you give him 20, now you can keep everybody. You can build up a team around him, and you take him back to being a game manager. Right. He started out as a game manager. They won a Super Bowl. He became the reason they won a Super Bowl. Now you take him back to being a game manager. That's circle of life, bro. All right. You were a baby. You couldn't walk. You became an adult. You ran. You got old. You couldn't walk. All right. Circle of life.
Right.
And you crap in your diaper.
Exactly.
Yo, I had to bring this up tonight. I was looking at the Houston Texans. They don't have a first-round pick in the next 2 drafts, I believe. But I know for sure they don't have one in this draft. They're over the cap. So is that a desirable job?
Nope.
Damn, Deshaun.
What the hell is happening in Houston?
Well,
I mean, just is there something in the water? I mean, you gotta get basketball right, baseball and cheating.
They let the coach, who was a moron as a coach, they let him be the GM, and he made really, 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 really bad, horrific moves that it's going to take them a minute to get out of. He traded one of the best wide receivers in the game. He traded him for a running back who's injury prone, 28, close to 30. So that time is ticking on that guy who's always injured, and he had a bad contract. And he gave up a first-round pick also.
But that's you know what? That's more on the organization. It shows you what the organization thinks of. Listen, the father was a racist. Okay.
Yes, he is.
The apple hasn't fallen far from the tree with the son. All right. They hired a search firm, okay, to justify hiring the white guy they wanted to hire. The search firm came back with 2 names of color. So they ignored the search firm and hired the white guy they wanted to hire. Okay. So this is just another example of an organization being exposed for what they really are. They're incompetent. Yes. We want to hear from this black athlete as long as he's saying what we want to say, but now you don't get to tell us. You don't get any saying anything else. Go shut up and dribble. And if I'm Deshaun Watson, listen, I'm not showing up. I'm not showing up. And I'm gonna make you trade me where I want to go because I got a no trade clause. But this has been coming for a minute. Everybody blamed Bill O'Brien, but you have to be on board with the person that's running your business.
Yeah.
You have to have a philosophical agreement with that person in order to let him run your business.
Yeah.
So this is where we at with Houston now, is that they've finally been exposed for what they actually are.
Mm.
They're a team that just wants the black athletes that are in that organization to go play ball for them. And even though you're the only reason we won 4 games, we ain't taking nothing you say into account. We certainly not gonna hire a person of color in any sort of management level position.
Right.
Damn.
Right. Well, we'll see for the future because I know earlier today, people in the group, people on Twitter, Deshaun Watson is going to get traded. I'm like, well, they just gave him like almost $140 million. I don't think he's going anywhere.
I do, especially if you look at the guy you brought in. Now, keep telling me how Nick Caserio was so involved in the New England Patriots personnel department, and he was really involved in the drafting of their players. But every time we turn around, aren't they criticizing the Patriots drafting over the past 10 years? Aren't we talking about how the Patriots haven't really built the organization? Aren't we talking about the lack of talent on the New England Patriots?
Right.
So
Yeah.
on the one hand, the New England Patriots have no talent and they've done a terrible job drafting. But Nick Caserio is to be lauded for being part of that player personnel department. Yeah. So I'm not quite following how that works. But at the end of the day, what it comes down to is you hired a guy who shouldn't be in a general manager position.
Right.
Okay? He shouldn't be. But that's who you chose to hire. Now, Deshaun Watson can force a trade because all he has to do is withhold his services. But I think they brought in Caserio with the exact purpose of getting rid of Deshaun Watson. I think they want to get rid of Deshaun Watson anyway. I think they want J.J. Watt or somebody else, a different color face to be the face of the organization.
Well,
so that's what they're doing.
J.J. Watt when's the last time he played in a game?
Doesn't matter. That's what he looks like for them. All right. It doesn't matter.
I know that, but J.J. Watt can't even walk right now.
Exactly.
He's got a better jawline.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Right, and I like J.J. Watt.
I do too.
I like him as a player. But he hasn't been fully healthy in a minute, and I don't think you don't give somebody, especially the quarterback, you don't give them over $100 million and change, $20 million to $30 million a year just to trade them.
Well, he needs to get out of that situation.
Well, I think he is very disgruntled. Even though
he can go share Uber with James Harden. So.
Listen, it's going to be interesting, especially when they don't hire a coach that's a person of color, because they're not hiring a black coach. Okay, so I'm gonna call it right now. They're not. And at that point, Deshaun Watson is going to force his way out of town. He's going to force his way out. And then Houston will go back to being, a fair to middling team in a fair to middling division.
Right. I don't know. They got a good fan base in Houston.
Yeah, but they want to go back to the days of Gary Kubiak.
How'd that work out?
It worked out fine for them because they made money.
Monetarily, but
Yeah, well, that's what it's all about. Only one team can win the Lombardi Trophy, but every team has a chance to make money.
There you go.
The Jets make money even though they stink.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
a lot of it.
I mean, this was the team that ran around with Matt Schwab for how many years?
Hey, Matt Schwab was the man.
Yeah, okay, bro.
He had like one really good season because I had him in fantasy football.
Yeah,
but like one.
I think he did my taxes one year. Oh no, that was Schwab.
There you go.
I think Matt Schwab is still somebody's backup somewhere.
Would not surprise me.
For real. Because I remember after he left, I was like, yo, he's still playing.
Sometimes I forget how old I am because I'm like, did this guy play when I was a kid? Or something?
Hey,
Gets foggy sometimes.
what was David Carr that played for Houston, right?
Yep, David Carr.
Yeah.
He's still playing. No, he's not. he's done with football. But yeah, Houston is just they in a bad situation.
Yeah. But if you think about it, in order for that team to get better, the only real avenue for them to get better, honestly, quick, is to move Deshaun Watson. They have no draft picks. They have no good players. How can you come up very quickly if you're Houston? You move Deshaun Watson.
You trade Deshaun Watson, you got to give me a number 1 this year, a number 1 next year, and a number 3 and a number 3. You got to give me 4 picks.
Okay. And you know what? Miami has that, as does Jacksonville. Miami has that, as does Jacksonville. Hell, Miami has most of the Houston Texans picks.
How many quarterbacks are Miami going to play with?
Well, if you move Tua for Deshaun, now you just playing with Deshaun.
You would move Tua?
Absolutely.
For Deshaun Watson, yes, I would do it too. Even
Tua is going to be an okay quarterback. He is not going to be good. He's going to be Alex Smith with more physical talent.
Alex Smith was meh.
Exactly. Tua is never going to be a guy to push the ball down the field. Which he has the receivers to do, but he doesn't push the ball down the field because that's not who he is. He's a guy who's never going to take a chance. He's not going to turn the ball over. That's not what they want in Miami. That's why they keep going around Fitzpatrick because Brian. Let me put it this way: Brian Flores wants a quarterback who's going to push the ball down the field, right, and take the shot. Tua is wired to not turn the ball over and not take those shots. He's Alex Smith with just more physical ability, so you're only going to go so far with Tua. Well, I would move him for Deshaun Watson. I'll give them back some of their picks because if you look at the Dolphins, what do they really need aside from quarterback play?
They need a running back, I believe.
You could pick up a running back.
Well, yeah, they don't really have a true number 1 wide receiver.
Okay, you can figure one out because there's a lot of good ones coming on the draft. What I'm saying is, if you think about it, their needs are not major. They put it like this:
10 games this year.
Yeah, they have enough. No, they won 9 games, I think. They have enough talent on that team as presently constructed.
They're they're a bubble playoff team, right?
Exactly.
Well, speaking of Tua, Alabama is leading 35-17 at the half.
Are you shocked? It's Ohio State. You're not shocked, are you?
Oh no, I can't stand Ohio State actually.
I don't think anybody likes Ohio State.
Okay, I thought it was just me.
No, it's not just you.
Let me tell you why I don't like Ohio State.
Go ahead.
The main reason why, and it's always I've been a Michigan fan, so right off the bat. But the other reason is, and this would be my third UB reference tonight. So I don't know, it was 3-4 years ago. Urban Meyer, they played Buffalo, first game of the season. Now you got Ohio State and you got Buffalo, which is a decent team, but they're not Big Ten, they're MAC. And Meyer, they scored 2 touchdowns opening up the game, and on both touchdowns, instead of kicking an extra point, he went for 2. And I'm like, what the? I mean, so of course it was a drubbing, but I mean, to me it was just disrespectful. And so ever since that, it's like they can't lose enough games from me.
Yeah.
And so even though he's gone, I just don't like the program, the Ohio State, and all of that crap. So Alabama, I just want them to whip on them. I hate the fact that they're there.
Speaking of Michigan, David, Harborough got renewed.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
Good.
What, 5 years? 5 more years?
Yeah, well,
listen,
it's got the name.
You know what? Jim Harbaugh didn't suddenly forget how to coach. Okay.
Yeah,
This is a guy who made Stanford relevant. He made San Diego State relevant as football teams.
Right.
All right.
And San Francisco.
He didn't forget how to coach. Now, has it been a little harder than he thought? Absolutely. Has it been a situation where sometimes going home, and I've always said, show me very, very rarely there's a guy going home to play for his hometown team or coach for his hometown team. That very rarely ends well, man. It just is what it is with that. But you know what? He's like 40, he's won them over 70% of the games that he's coached in at Michigan. Yes, he hasn't beat Ohio State. Okay. There's a whole lot of guys didn't beat Ohio State over the past few years, which is why y'all kept going through coaches. That's why Rich Rodriguez wound up there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think if you give him the time and understand that for whatever reason it's going to be a struggle for him, I think they'll be fine. I like them bringing him back. I think a lot of the slander against him is people that just don't like him. Because he's a loud, obnoxious, abrasive dude. And my thing is, man, listen, I don't care if you talk. You don't like people who talk, then don't listen.
Right. Listen, I like people who talk, but they also back it up. If you talk and don't back it up,
I don't care if you don't back it up either. Talk that junk.
If you talk and don't back it up, then you just LeVar Ball.
There you go. And eventually people will give you all kinds of credit that you don't deserve because your two kids happen to make it to the NBA based on their merits, and we ain't got a damn thing to do with you, but you'll still get the credit for it. So keep talking.
And one of your sons he's the youngest person to have a triple-double in the
NBA.
Yeah, and now there's all sorts of think pieces to how great LeVar Ball is. So keep talking, Jim.
Well,
but he did it against his brother, though.
Right. No, he didn't do it against his brother. He almost did it.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. When he beat his brother. Yeah, right. You're right. He beat his brother, though.
Yeah. He's a more fluid athlete than Lonzo.
Yeah.
His shot is ugly. That seems to be a family trait, except for LiAngelo. But his shot is ugly. It goes in more than Lonzo's does right now. And he's a flashier passer.
Yeah.
Lonzo isn't as flashy, but they both make flashy plays. It's just that LiAngelo's a little more flashy.
The fluidity of it. I think Lonzo comes across a little more rigid.
Right.
But LaMelo is a little more fluid with it. It's nice. Whatever. And LiAngelo, he's got the prettiest jump shot of the three of them.
Yes, but he can't do anything else on the floor.
Exactly.
Listen, LaMelo was the most physically talented of the three, and is showing up, and like I said, good for him. But I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, Ohio State, man, listen, I hope they get boat raced. Okay, I need them to get boat raced.
Ronan in the chat room, he said, I don't like Ohio State because they effing robbed the Hurricanes in the 2002 national championship game with that bullshit PI call, along with Will Allen's dirty hit on Willis McGahee.
Well, I got a problem with them because of what they did to Maurice Claret and those other kids. You know what I'm saying? Miss me with all of that, man. Miss me with Ohio State. And listen, I used to, when I was younger, I liked Ohio State and Michigan because I'm from New York, so I can, we don't really have no damn college team, so I can follow whoever the hell I want to follow. But I like, the old days with Woody Hayes and Bo Schembechler, Woody Hayes punching guys in the face and all of that.
Yeah, that's the good old days.
But once Urban Meyer went there, bro, I was out on them.
Yeah. Same here. I think that's when it really went downhill for me too. Yeah. They were just always on the opposite side of whoever I was rooting for,
Yeah.
It's not that I didn't start off disliking them. It's just that whenever they played a big game, it seemed like the other team I liked more. So I was
Right.
just found myself rooting against them. But Urban Meyer and that mess, it really just turned me off totally. And so now I don't care who they got; they can't lose enough and by enough points. Just
Yep.
run it up.
Yep.
What's
Along
the
with the
score?
fact it's 35-17, along with the fact that tell me the last quarterback that Urban Meyer developed.
Good
I'll
question.
wait.
Good question.
Yeah.
Good question. What do y'all think about the wide receiver that won the Heisman? Should the Giants try to get him? Should the Jets
Absolutely.
Should the Jets try to get him? They
Everybody
both
about
need their number one.
Everybody better try to get that kid. All right.
Jets just need somebody to throw the ball to him.
You don't like Darnold, David?
I do, but I don't know. Well, look, now that Gase is gone, I'd like to see what happens.
Right.
So I give everybody a pass on this past performance, and I just want to see what happens if somebody can develop him.
No, they can't.
Yeah,
He is what he is, man. He's a guy who's going to turn over the ball at the worst possible moment, and he's a guy that you cannot win with. He is a guy who is going to fail in crunch time, just like he did in college, just like he has done in the NFL. So listen, can you be respectable with Sam Darnold? Can you set a foundation and build a team while using him and maybe win 4, 5, 6 games? Sure. If that's the goal, fine, keep going.
I ain't content with 5, 6 games. That's
No.
just a step above Gase.
Okay, that's
Right.
better than 1 or 2. It's better than 1 or 2. Right? I'm just saying. But Darnold, your ceiling with Darnold is 8-8, 9-7. That's the ceiling with Darnold.
Yeah.
well then, yeah. No, I'm not. I wouldn't be. That's not acceptable to me.
No. But the kid Devontae Smith, listen, somebody better listen. Whoever gets him, my hope is that somehow he drops in the draft and gets to a team that has good quarterback play. That he gets drafted in the 10s, somewhere in that neighborhood. Money wise, I know it won't be great for him, but he'll go to a better team.
He'll get money later.
Right. He needs to go to a team that has good quarterback play now. If you look at who's drafting, Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence, listen, Jacksonville's about to hire Urban Meyer. So that's not going to end well for him then. I don't trust the Jets. The third team is Cincinnati. Cincinnati already has their receivers. They got a quarterback and they have their receivers now, and they're gonna take an offensive line. So now you're looking at 4, 5, and 6 is where you're looking. So, matter of fact, wait a minute. I think Miami's drafting around 4 or 5. Man, if he goes to Miami, it's on the pop, dog.
I don't want to see that because I don't like Miami.
I don't either.
Yeah.
But I do have to root for the brother. So,
well, the brother is from my hood, but I don't like Miami. But you know what? I don't hate Miami. I just don't like them. How can I say it? When I see team, the way we do this show, we analyze and look at everybody's team, not just the teams in our area where we live at. Miami should have been better than they were with Adam Gase because he did have talent on that team.
Mm-hmm.
But as we see, he don't know what to do with talent. He just don't know what. He just not a good head coach.
Yeah, not everybody is meant to be a head coach.
That's true. Very true. Very true. Just like I think Dan Quinn went to Dallas as their defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Oh no, he got interviewed, or did they go ahead and hire him?
I think they hired him.
Oh my God.
He's not a bad coordinator. He's just not a. He's a mediocre head coach.
True. But the problem with him is he's one of those rigid guys.
where he is stuck in this is how I do it and you need to conform to this. He doesn't strike me as a guy who's going to look at, because it's not like they can make a whole lot of moves defensively in Dallas. They have who they have.
Right, and they got players on their defense.
Exactly, but you can't ask them to do what they're not capable of doing, which is what Nolan did. So is Dan Quinn flexible enough to kind of run sort of a hybrid of what he wants to run, that and so that it fits the best skill set of the players he has?
Well, in Atlanta, they never helped him on that side of the ball. And I'm looking at Atlanta, I'm like, okay, y'all set with Matt Ryan, you got 2 good running backs, you got Julio Jones, you got a good receiver on the other side, you had a good tight end. They never invested any money on the defensive side of the ball, and then they would have 1 or 2 players who were okay, and he just never could never replicate what he did when he was a defensive coordinator in Atlanta on that side of the ball.
Right, which speaks to, you looked good when you had great players, but when you had okay players, you couldn't elevate them. So I asked the question again. Is he going to be able to make a difference with this defense, or does he need to have great talent in order to be a good defensive coordinator?
Well, up front, Dallas has some talent. They got talent they have some talent at linebacker, and they got talent in the secondary.
Okay, tell me the one great player they have.
Great
on defense. Exactly.
They don't have great, but they have good.
Right. And we saw what Dan Quinn did with good in Atlanta. Not so much.
Right. I just blame David.
Oh, well,
Blame me?
Yeah. Ronan is our resident Dallas guy. He said they're going to go back to a 4-3 with Quinn. That's the way their defense has been built. Dallas must draft defensive tackles to stabilize the run defense.
I can agree with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I hope it works out for them. But like I said, I'm just not as high on Dan Quinn as a lot of people because, give me a defensive coordinator who can take chicken shit and turn it into chicken salad. The perfect example is Robert Saleh. Robert Saleh, when he had all of those number 1 draft picks, that Niners defense was amazing. Everybody got hurt, and Niners defense was still amazing.
Rex Ryan was good at that.
Wink Martindale has been good at that. They haven't had truly great players in Baltimore for a minute, but that defense is top 10 every year. There's some guys out there who you just give them some guys. Greg Williams, all of the crap that we gave him this year, was a guy, you just give him some guys that's willing to play, he'll give you a top 15 defense. You give him some good players, he'll give you a top 10 defense. Right. I don't know if Dan Quinn is in that mold. I just don't. So
Greg Williams adapts. He adapts to what's in front of him.
Right.
Okay, I got great cover guys in the secondary. We'll blitz a little, blah, blah, blah. But he always likes to blitz. I got guys up front, so now I'm a blitz real heavy.
Right.
Which I like, but that play he called that cost him his job, that was just asinine.
I think he wanted out at that point.
Of course.
Honestly.
Of course.
I think he just wanted out.
Because think about it, Chandler. Prior to that, he had said some things in the press, and then him and Gates got into it before a game, and then I was sitting there going, oh, shit, here we go.
Yeah, and he knew that they weren't going to consider him for the head coaching job. So yes, give me my check and let me go home.
Yeah, and let me make sure I'm COVID free and I find something I get ahead of everybody. He probably gets another job somewhere as a coordinator.
I think so.
Does
next season?
Yeah, David.
I was just going to say they always seem to land on their feet.
Yeah, funny how that works. Huh?
You got the complexion for the protection.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Marvin Lewis is out there looking, and my man Caldwell is out there looking, say he want to come back, but ain't nobody bringing him back, really.
They got these guys out there waiting for a stimulus check.
So are we going to get to talk about the Philly situation?
I was going to do that tomorrow, but we could talk about it now. We'll talk about it again tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
What do y'all think?
I think Doug Peterson wanted out. I think he lost the power play with Howie Roseman. And just like Howie Roseman got Chip Kelly ass up out of there,
right?
He got Doug Peterson up out of there because Howie Roseman is the reason Carson Wentz got that contract that they didn't have to give him when they gave it to him. I think Doug Peterson realized that Carson Wentz, through two different backup quarterbacks, had the team like wanting to play more for anybody but him. When your teammates don't want to play for you, I don't care how talented you are, when cats don't want to play for and with you, your team is not going to be good. And we've seen twice with two different guys, right? Jalen Hurts and Nick Foles, where you could see the difference in the team's play and in their body language, in their demeanor, and in their words, right?
Right.
When it came to guys other than the Carson Wentz. And no one's ever going to convince me that Doug Peterson unilaterally decided to throw that game last week. That was a decision that came down from upstairs, and he fell on his sword with them, and he took all the heat for it. And I think when he met with the owner, he's like, listen, man, Carson Wentz is trash. Carson Wentz is trash. I did what y'all wanted. I'm taking all the heat. So listen, either Carson Wentz goes or I go. And Howie Roseman had already set him up and told Jeffrey Lurie, listen, man, I ain't had nothing to do with that. We can win with Carson Wentz. It's Doug Peterson's fault. So I think Doug Peterson said, let me go because the Jets job is waiting for me. And
I don't want him here.
This is where he's coming.
Well, I know why, because him and Douglas was in Philly, and that's his peoples. But I don't want him. I think he's mediocre. He got lucky in Philly. He got lucky winning the Super Bowl. Foles getting hot like Foles does during the playoff run. I just don't think he doesn't have that. He doesn't make me say, "Oh yeah, that's who we want for the head coach." He's mediocre, and yes, in Philly he got dealt a bad hand by having injuries, and also the GM not getting him the right players that he needed in certain situations. Philly, they got injury problems. The offensive line is suspect. Running backs are mad. The wide receivers are, and that smacks to the GM. You the one who's buying the groceries and cooking up the food.
Mm-hmm. And you keep, like Deshaun Jackson. Dude, how many times you gonna go down the road with Deshaun Jackson before you realize that he can't stay healthy? How many times?
He's Deshaun Jackson.
You passed up on Justin Jefferson. And listen, Jalen Reagor might turn out to be a good wide receiver. Right. Justin Jefferson is going to be a great wide receiver.
Right. Ronan said he's an upgrade over Goofy Eye Gates.
This is true. He is. And the one thing about Peterson is Doug Peterson will build a foundation and a culture of winning and expecting to win. I think without Howie Roseman there and the golden child of Carson Wentz, I think you will have a unified locker room. You will have a team that's going to play hard. You will have a team that's going to play smart. Right now, if you're a Jet fan, honestly, that's all you right now. That's all. It's kind of like was with the Knicks. We just want to see a professional, competent team, right? I just want to see a professional, competent team take the field, and then we'll worry about the wins and losses. Yeah, with a yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But wasn't Frank Wright the offensive coordinator?
I said you'll have a team that plays hard and is well coached, right?
Right.
And they look professional and competent and that plays hard. I didn't say they were going to be dynamic offensively. I didn't say that.
Listen, I'm 51. Clock is ticking on, certain things with the Jets. The Giants have done me good because I've gotten to see 4 Super Bowls. So,
I've seen my Super Bowl for the Jets, so I'm good.
Right. Yeah, you was a baby, though.
I'm old enough to remember it. That's all that matters.
You was a baby.
Okay, I still remember it. I'm old enough to remember Joe Namath. I'm old enough to have seen him play.
I remember Joe
I'm good.
Namath. I remember that. I remember what happened after the Super Bowl. Joe Namath's knees was Swiss cheese. And then we had Richard Todd.
Yep, Richard Todd.
And Ken O'Brien and Matt Robinson and Bubby Brister.
Oh God. Jeez. Yeah,
Ray Lucas. We had all that.
Yes.
I wanna act. Well, damn, I don't think I have any Jet gear. I want to at least wear a Jet jacket or a T-shirt somewhere, and not have people go, "You like them?"
Yeah, well, unless they draft Trey Lance, which, if they hire Peterson, I don't think is unrealistic. I think they trade down. Like I said, I think the best guy in this quarterback in this draft is going to be Trey Lance, personally. But
Ronan going in.
What?
He said Reich was Philly's OC when they won their fluke ass Super Bowl.
Say what now?
I'm gonna post it back up.
Yeah, that's what I said. I didn't say it was going. I didn't say it was going to be dynamic offensively. I just said they would be professional and competent.
I don't want that. I want over the top flashiness. I want my receiver to get. I want some receiver. I want Mims to get 12 touchdown receptions.
Okay,
you want 100 balls and 1,300 yards receiving. Can I get that? I
think with Doug Peterson, you can be. Well, depending on who the quarterback is. If it's still Darnold, I think you can be 7-9 next year. With a better quarterback, I think you can be 9-7.
Ooh, you know what? I'm going to sleep now. I'm tired. Pissing me off with that.
Hey, your team is not good. You don't have a running game. You still have
God.
Other than Mims, you got a bunch of receivers who drop balls at the worst possible times. The kid P. Ryan, I don't think he's going to stay healthy. So you have some stuff. Listen, this team has a lot of work to do, but you need to start by building a foundation of just being professionals. So.
Oh, Ronan, don't mention Neil O'Donnell. I can't stand that dude.
Oh my God.
He pissed me off in the Super Bowl when he was with the Steelers because I knew they was gonna lose. When he came to the line and his eyes was looking like Adam Gase's eyes, I was like, the Steelers about to lose because this dude is a bum.
Oh.
And they proceeded to lose that game.
Listen, oh my God.
And then I think it was Neil O'Donnell who Keyshawn Johnson said, "Yo, man, just throw me the damn ball."
Yeah, that was the Rich Kotite
era.
Yeah.
Yo, I read I don't know, Chandler, it was an article in either the Post or the Daily News where they were talking about those 2 seasons. And I told y'all the story of us seeing Keyshawn Johnson in the shadow get his groove on, and he's supposed to be injured. They said in the article, he says a lot of players that was out hanging out at night, partying, coming in drunk. Keyshawn said, I probably was one. I'm like, I know it was you, Keyshawn. I saw you.
But that's where it gives me pause. Do you really want to get another coach from Philly?
Right. Right. Well, remember, Rich Kotite was originally an assistant coach here.
Yeah, and then they moved away from him. Yeah, and then they were like, you can go.
And he won a couple of games in Philly.
Yeah. Okay.
I think he went to one or 2 playoffs with Philly. And then people thought he could coach. And also in that article, they said he didn't care anymore. They said he was showing up to practice, bringing people and chilling on the sidelines.
Oh, some people are saying that Doug Peterson is in that place because he won a Super Bowl in Philly.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. Again, to me, the best coach for the Jets is a Marvin Lewis, Jim Caldwell type of guy.
They interviewed Marvin Lewis.
That's why I think they should bring in and let them build a foundation, a true foundation of winning and professionalism.
Right. Listen, I'll accept Marvin Lewis because at least I know it's an adult in the room.
Right.
Not a cokehead like Adam Gase.
Right.
Yes, I did call him a cokehead.
Right.
Yeah,
And
well,
you know what? If Marvin Lewis
look,
had been the coach, Jamal Adams would still be here,
Right, right,
and so would Leonard Williams. By the way.
right. Funny how well Leonard was good when the Jets had a solid defensive front line. They had
Exactly.
guys on that defensive line who was solid, and then they let them all go.
Right.
Or rather, they didn't want to continue paying them because they gave them all big money.
Mm-hmm.
Either way is bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, fellas, I'm gonna have to turn it in. I think we'll be on tomorrow. David, I like that New York hat. I see my logo over there. I like that. I like that Knicks logo.
yep.
Chandler, I just don't like you because you are Chandler.
I know. That's all right.
Are you feeling better though?
No, it's nothing's really changed. It is what it is with it. So just
Right.
you know. But I'm just waiting for DJ LeMahieu to sign with Toronto so I can I go in and just murder Brian Cashman. But hey, Lindor, amazing trade.
Yes.
They didn't give up a whole lot to get. They basically gave up one good shortstop and one guy who they've confused. So watch Ahmed Rosario suddenly turn into the fielder he always should have been with the Mets, but the Wilpons ruined him. But you listen, you give
and
up
they
those
got a
two.
pitch. They got a solid guy for the rotation.
Carrasco, right now you got a solid number 2 in your rotation. That trade was just a home run for the Mets.
Yeah.
That's one of the best trades the Mets have made
since
I can't even think.
Well, since Gary Carter.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm not
far.
even gonna say that. I'm gonna say since Yoenis, because that was a good trade. Even though the end wasn't good, his beginning was really good.
Yeah,
I don't mind the Gary Carter comparison.
Right.
You're bringing in a winner. You're bringing in a guy who understands what it is to be the face of a franchise. You're bringing in a guy who won't shy away from that. And Yoenis he wasn't built for that. Francisco Lindor is going to light up New York City.
Yes, he will. He will. And you know what I like? The way it was done. It wasn't no fanfare. There wasn't no smoke about it. I see David posted. He said, "Is this real?" And then I went to ESPN and I was like, "It's real."
Yeah, you posted it. It's real. Yeah. There was a really good piece that they were showing about the defensive side of Lindor, and they were showing the comparisons between the positioning of Lindor and Rosario playing in, and Lindor practically plays on the almost
Carpet.
on the grass. Yeah, on the grass, and his ability to get to more balls. So a lot of those balls that was getting by Rosario, for base hits, Lindor swallows up. So they're side by side. So it's not just the offensive side, but the defensive side.
He's a Gold Glove guy.
Yep.
Yeah. So like I always preach, that solid defense up the middle.
Right. Right.
So
I've read that the Mets might shy away from Springer, David, because of what he possibly wants in compensation.
I could think that would be the hindrance, but they're going to have to shore up center field.
Yeah. I like. How do you pronounce his name? Miss Marisnick?
Marisnick. Jake Marisnick.
He's all right, but he's not an everyday center fielder anymore. He's a platoon backup guy, your fourth outfielder. They need that guy in center field.
Yeah. I mean, look. If you look at New York, going back to the golden age of New York baseball, when we had the 3 teams, it was center field.
Yeah.
And it was the debates, between Mantle, Mays, and Snyder.
Right.
Depending on which side. So I mean, center field in playing center field in New York City is should be a prime position.
Right. When's the last time the Mets had a solid center fielder?
It's been a
Claudel Washington.
Like they've had guys. Yeah, they've had guys who were strong defenders, but not that all around package.
Right.
On both sides, offensive and defensive. So it's been a while.
I love Mookie Wilson, but Mookie couldn't hit.
No, exactly. Mookie was not, a hitter. He'd get on base and steal for you, but you're not gonna look for Mookie to be a hitter. And Dykstra was an asshole. There's
a guy that I think might come available, that I think the Mets could pry out of Minnesota, and that's Byron Buxton.
Buxton, yeah, if he's, I like that kid. Yeah.
I'm tired of the Mets taking a guy who's a left fielder, right fielder, and they can play center fielder, but they're not a center fielder.
Look, this isn't softball where you have a short center fielder and you play 4 across.
Right.
This is we need that guy who would just take command of the outfield. He's your your captain in the outfield.
Right.
And you know what? Not for nothing. I don't think Springer's going to be worth the money in 2 years. He's not as good defensively, honestly, as he's made out to be, and he doesn't get to as many balls as he should even now. Arm ain't that great. I'll put it like this: George Springer. If you're just looking for a name, yes, it'll make a big splash. I think Mets fans will be disappointed with Springer in a year or two, and they're gonna start talking about what the hell did we do. Whereas I think there's some other guys they might be able to pry away from some teams, or some guys that there's gonna be some guys come loose because again, the way these teams are playing these games, well, we lost money, so we ain't paying nobody.
Yeah,
some things are gonna happen where there's gonna be some players available to get, and it's not gonna cost you that much.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that. I hope that's the case. Springer is a big splash, and it's with no Lindor. Then I was like Springer, definitely. But now that they have Lindor, I could see a different piece. It doesn't have to be Springer, but they're going to need somebody in center field because, like Mac's point, I'm tired of these corner outfielders, roaming, patrolling center field.
Yeah.
Right, and if they need somebody, we got Lindor, which is great. They need somebody who's offensively good and defensively good.
Yeah,
we need somebody like that. I heard they were talking about Jackie Bradley.
Oh, absolutely. If Jackie Bradley Jr., first of all, is one of the best defensive center fielders,
and he's not bad at the plate.
His problem in Boston was the damn wall. They wanted him to be something he's not, which is a home run hitter. If you put Jackie Bradley out there, and because think about this, there was a time when Jackie Bradley Jr. was valued and thought to be a better prospect than Mookie Betts.
Yes.
Keep that in mind.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, Jackie Bradley Jr. is the future, and Mookie Betts, maybe he'll be good. Right,
and then see how things turn out.
Exactly, but you put Jackie Bradley Jr. in center field at City Life State Stadium, whatever the hell you want to call it, and you say to him, "Listen, whatever you hit, and he's freed of having to try to be a home run hitter in that ballpark." I think you get a 270 hitter who would Gold Glove defense, 270.
I take that.
15 home runs, 75 RBIs, and Gold Glove defense. Come on.
Right, and Conforto stays in right. Do you platoon Nemo and Dominic Smith in left?
Yes. You have to. You got to get Smith back in the lineup.
I definitely like Smith back in the lineup. Now, have they made a decision on the DH?
No, they haven't yet. I think Manfred doesn't want to do it, but he wants to do all that other cute nonsense. But he doesn't want to do the one thing that would actually help improve the game, which is the universal DH.
I agree because I've been a National League guy all my life, and I was anti-DH, but in the past couple of years, I'm definitely thinking that they need to just make that move because just from the Mets standpoint, it would really help because
Dom gets to play.
Yeah. Dom Smith, I like his game. I think his bat should be in the lineup, and I think he deserves a chance. I think that kid has done everything that they've asked of him.
And he got better.
He got better.
He made himself. He made himself multi-dimensional. Because he can play left field. He can play first.
His teammates like him. I mean, the way he took to Pete Alonso, and instead of making it about they're making this guy is taking my spot, he was his biggest cheerleader. And you see
they cheerleaded. They cheer for each other,
which I think helped Alonso's in his comfortability too, because going into that season and coming out of the spring, they weren't even sure they were going to bring Alonso up, and then they did, and we see what happened. But he knew also that he didn't have to any negativity coming from Dom Smith. And Dom Smith, just like Max said, he became more versatile, and he's definitely a bat that I'd love to have in the lineup. So if they make this decision on the DH, I'm all for it.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, because now you got a spot for J.D. Davis or Jeff McNeil. You have options now and flexibility in your roster, in that every day you can have your best 9 hitters and defenders on the field.
That's right.
McNeil should play second, and Davis should play third. We got a shortstop. He makes both those guys better because they're not really great defensively.
He's got range.
Right. He'll make them both better. And first base is Peter Alonso. And when we want to rest Alonso, let Dom play first base. And if we had the DH, it's even better.
Right. Yeah,
right.
It makes sense all the way around to me. At this point, like I said, I was a staunch opponent of it because I was just traditionalist.
Me too.
But now looking at it at this way, I'm trying to put the best out there, and we've got some good hitters. Chili Davis said that he will be back. He was working with remotely.
Right. And he's an excellent tutor and an excellent batting coach.
Absolutely, because Alonso suffered last year.
Yeah, he did. So did Davis and so did McNeil. They all suffered without him.
Yeah.
Well, because they started trying to be home run hitters instead of guys who could hit home runs. And those are 2 different things. Chili Davis was a guy who hit home runs. He wasn't a home run hitter.
Right.
Dominic Smith is that guy. Is that same type of guy. I think he'll bang out if he got 500 at bats, 550 at bats, play like 140 games. He's a guy. 28, 32 home runs. He'll drive in a lot of RBIs, and he'll hit for a healthy batting average.
Yeah. And he won't feel that pressure of I've got every game. I've got to show them why I should be in the lineup.
Right. And if you look at that ballpark, if you give me a bunch of guys hitting 20 to 25 home runs and driving in 90 to 100 RBIs, you're winning the National League East, and it's not even close.
Yeah.
Right. Especially if Thor comes back. We got Stroman and we got Carrasco and what's our lefty pitcher?
Peterson.
You got Matt
and Peterson.
And of course, DeGrom.
Right. And I hope keep Lugo. They said this year they wanted to let Lugo become a starter again. He's most effective
in the bullpen.
He's a weapon in the bullpen. And we signed, I think, who's the reliever we signed?
Mays. Trevor Mays.
I like that signing.
They were looking at a couple others too. Showing up that bullpen. You give them that bullpen where you get to the 7th inning and it's shut down.
We still got Gelsman. I love Gelsman. I love how him and Lugo are weapons in the bullpen.
And you got Dellin, who's coming off, who's now a year removed
from the Achilles.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Chandler, we gotta talk about your Yankees. I saw an article, and it's going back to the money, where they said the Yankees can't make certain moves because they gave a certain outfielder / DH. He got a big contract coming in the trade that they had made a couple years ago. What are your thoughts on that? And
I
the
think-
DJ LeMahieu situation.
I think that people want to keep making excuses. I think that that's a bunch of bullshit. They want to
Right.
keep making excuses for the fact that Hal Steinbrenner, since he took over, has tried to turn the Yankees into the Tampa Bay Rays, a small market team. He's running them, and don't tell me about the payroll. Look at the moves. Okay, you brought in Stanton, who won an MVP as an outfielder, and you turned him into half a player. Okay, you re-signed a guy in Aaron Hicks who can't stay healthy, but that was a cheaper option, honestly, than what you would have had to pay. You keep bringing back Brett Gardner for less and less money. Now, the mandate now is he doesn't want to pay luxury tax. He want to pay luxury. So the Yankees have $30 million to spend. You need a second baseman. Okay. Actually, what you needed was a shortstop. What you needed was Lindor, so you could put Torres at his best position, which is second. But you need LeMahieu because you could put LeMahieu at first, right? You put Torres at second. You put somebody at short that can actually catch the damn ball. Okay. Say, I don't know, Urshela. And you allow Miguel Andujar to play his natural position, which is third base, right? Or you put Andujar at first. You leave Urshela at third since you're in love with Urshela. And now you have three guys in the lineup two guys in the lineup who are actual hitters, who are genuine hitters.
Right.
You
Chandler,
go ahead.
brother in the chat room, Black Action Productions, he said they trying to play Moneyball. It sounds like. Didn't the A's lose at the end of that movie?
Yes, they absolutely did. That's what's happening. And LeMahieu's going to walk, not because of Giancarlo Stanton, but it's because of Hal Steinbrenner not wanting to spend money. And I said this to you, Mac, and then in the text, and I'm gonna say it again now on the show. In about 2 years, you are going to start noticing that elite free agents who have made money, who have gotten a big contract, maybe getting their second big contract, but are more interested in winning a World Series, will not come to the Yankees.
Right.
Because the Yankees are no longer about World Series.
They're going to come to the Mets.
What? Maybe I hope that. But I love the Yankees as much as I love the Mets. What's the shortstop that we missed out on?
Well, you missed out on Lindor. Obviously, you missed out. Let's see, 3 years ago.
Yeah, who also could play third base, but he didn't come. He didn't want to come here.
Oh, Manny Machado. Yeah, they didn't want to pay Manny Machado.
Right.
You listen. There have been players the Yankees have let go because of money. They could have had Verlander in that year where he helped Houston to the World Series. They didn't want to give him money. The Yankees, they're trying to be a small market team. Hal Steinbrenner is about the dollars and cents, man. He ain't about the rings. He's about dollars and cents.
His father is probably in the grave right now going, this motherfucker.
Yeah, and his brother, by the way, because his brother, Hank would have spent the money already. Hank would have spent the money.
Right. You wanted to say something, David?
I was just going to say, Machado was supposed to be a Yankee. That just fits the old, Yankees of 10 years ago. So he was supposed to wind up there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and by the way, he's still a great defensive player, and he's still hitting. So for all the people who said, well, the defensive metrics say the defensive metrics can kiss my behind, Manny Machado is helping this. The San Diego Padres are spending money.
Okay? And and San Diego was never a big market team.
No, never. But that team is dangerous.
Oh, dude.
They got so many players.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, what San Diego did is just, and they didn't give up a whole lot to get the guys they got. Right. The best player they gave up in that is Patino, the pitcher. The catcher Campusano, we'll see. We'll see what he turns into, because what catchers is hit and miss sometimes. Because he's not good defensively. His bat plays, but he's not good defensively. So, and the kid Patino, stuff wise, he has ace stuff. I think his ceiling is solid number 2.
Right. Black at you said trying to make the Yankees a small market team makes no sense. The Yanks are too big for that. They've always been too big for being a small market team. They've always been a team that no matter what, okay, we need another bat. We can go. Remember the years when they would rent that bat?
Yeah. Listen, Kyle Schwarber only got $10 million from the Nationals.
Oh yeah,
They
that was a good move for them.
They couldn't have gave him $10 million. Kyle Schwarber's bat plays in Yankee Stadium. Trust me, that bat plays.
It does. If they're gonna be like that, then they might as well sell the team back to CBS.
Listen, they are I think they're worth $5 or $6 billion.
Something like that.
And Hal Steinbrenner is pinching pennies.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous. Yeah,
Okay. When DJ LeMahieu has opened up his negotiations back with teams that he stopped negotiating with out of good faith because he said, I want to be a Yankee. And he's starting to realize that the Yankees are going to play hardball on the money. So he's going to go somewhere else for 5 years. And then we're going to watch Gleyber continue to kick balls at shortstop. They're going to trade away Miguel Andujar. And then we're going to watch Gio Urshela turn back into the guy he was, a 260 hitter.
With no home runs.
And you're going to have, he'll hit some home runs, but it'll be a 260 hitter with 35 home runs and 70 RBIs. You'll have Luke Voit over there. Oh, Luke Voit led the league in 60 games. He led the league in home runs. How many RBIs did he have? Because runs win games.
I'm still not sold on Luke Voit.
No, Mike Ford is a better hitter. Mike Ford's a better hitter, but he won't hit the amount of home runs, so he won't get the opportunity to play. All right?
Right.
I'm telling you how this is going to go.
You need to do something with Frazier. Trade him. Just trade that dude. Get you some players for him.
Well, they won't let him play. You keep asking him to be something. Again, Clint Frazier, not a home run hitter. A bat who should be an RBI, who can hit. But that's not enough. That's not good enough for them. Right? It's not good enough for them. You took Gary Sanchez and broke him. You broke Gary Sanchez.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Listen, man. I need Hal Steinbrenner to get hit by a bus. I need somebody else in that family running this team.
Chandler, why don't you just send him some woman and you sneak in the back door and, do what you need to do?
Nah, man. There's too many cameras. Listen, you see how they got that no-fly list going, bro. They ain't catching me out there like that.
Yeah.
Yo, I got a funny story to tell y'all. Somebody text or called me and they threatened.
What?
Yeah, they trying to like extort people or whatever. So I looked at the call and they called me. So I said, pick this up. And they were like, Mark, listen, you did such and such with my girl. I need my money. I'm like, what? I'm like, what? He said, yo, don't try to hide. And then they send me a text with my address and some of my relatives' names.
Whoa.
And then I thought about it. I said, wait a minute. Okay, so they Googled me. He called me and he texted me and he gave me a name. It's the name of somebody from a Mexican cartel who's in Mexico. So I texted him back. I was like, if you was really a gangster, you would not be texting me this. And so then I told him, I started talking about his mother because, that's just my thing.
Right.
I said, yo, man, bring your moms over. We could get her OnlyFans page up and we could put her on the digital track.
Man, you trolling a crank call?
Yes, I'm gonna troll you. So then I told him I ain't got nothing to do today, but now mess with you.
Right.
So he called me back. He said, "You wrong, man." I said, "How am I wrong?"
You're wrong.
How'd you really think this was gonna play out? And he had a Hispanic accent, so I played on all of that. I was calling him. I said, "Yo, I'm gonna call ICE on you, man." And then I told him, I said, "Since you Googled me, did you Google those names? Because some of those people on my family are cops." I said, "So And I worked at a law firm for 10 years, and my uncle used to work for a politician. So how you want to play this?
Yeah. Which avenue do you want to go down?
And he was like, my mother is dead. I was like, so?
Oh, come on, man.
You call me.
Yo, I did not send for you, so don't come for me.
Exactly.
And then I told him again, I said, so we going to get this page, this OnlyFans page with your moms?
Oh, man.
So then he blocked me.
He blocked you.
Blocked me. He told me the last response I got, he said, you're a despicable person. I'm like, really?
Wow. This must have been his first day on the job.
I don't know. But then I saw a story on the news. They said because we all getting stimulus money and stuff like that, people are contacting older people and finagling them out of money.
Oh,
trying to get them out of money.
They tried to get my mom a few years ago, and she called me in a panic because somebody called her and said grandma, and then claimed that they were in some kind of accident or something and needed money.
Right.
So my mother, she called me immediately and asked where my son was. I said, he's sitting at home with my wife right now. She said, oh, because they said, such and such. And I said, no, that's a scam. But that's what they do. They really prey on older people a lot.
Yeah, they do. And you know what? We gotta start being better. If you have older relatives, people that are not as technically proficient, educate them on if you don't recognize who that text came from, don't answer the text. If you don't recognize the phone number, don't answer the. If somebody says they calling from the IRS, your bank, or whatever, Amazon. Okay, here's the thing. They already have your information, so why would they be asking you for it?
Exactly.
Or the people that knock on your door and we UPS, we this, that, and that.
Yeah. Or say they're gonna read the meter and get in your house, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, it's crazy. But Mark, you upset that guy. Why you do that to this guy?
He called me despicable.
You're despicable. You're the problem.
Why am I the problem?
Yeah, because you didn't play along with his game.
That's right. How you gonna have unity, Mark? Just because he tried to extort you, now you don't want to be unified?
Exactly.
What's wrong with you?
Exactly. I don't know.
I tried to call you, Jim, because I was sitting in the office cracking up, and I showed my coworker. I said, "Yo, look at this dude."
Man, he sound like them people from the Capitol. Now they're talking about, but we need unity. I know we tried to overthrow the government, but now y'all need to forgive us. No, hell no. You got to pay. No. You got to pay, son.
Here's the thing with those people. They were all for, not Black Lives Matter. They were riding behind Blue Lives Matter, right? And the cops were, screaming, our lives matter too. Those people attacked you.
They beat the cop to death.
Yes.
Right.
So where's the blue lives and all that?
Well, where's the police unions now? See, the police. Notice the police unions ain't got nothing to say. One of your members got killed, but y'all ain't got nothing to say.
Right. But if it was one of us, the way they would word things would be in a certain tone. I don't hear any tone right now.
Where's the word thug at? Where's the word thug at? I ain't heard the word thug yet. I ain't heard the word terrorist yet. I ain't, what I'm saying? I ain't heard the word anti-American yet. Okay, I want to hear all of that.
Where's Lynch? Pat Lynch.
Oh, Pat Lynch is nowhere to be found.
Man. But what the funniest thing though, I saw on Twitter today, this young white girl, she posted a thing of her mother at one of them deals, and the mom got busted in the face. She said, "Hey mom, remember when you told me I couldn't go to the Black Lives Matter rally because it might get violent? Is this you?"
Yep.
No.
Yep. Yes, you did. Yep.
I got since I got y'all since I got y'all live. Soho Karen.
Oh yeah.
So she went from, I saw some of the clips with her interview with Gail. She went from being She called herself. She said, "I'm Puerto Rican."
Yes.
Okay, that don't absolve you.
No,
That doesn't. Actually, you should know better.
She said that, and then she tried to portray herself. Well, I'm just a 22-year-old girl. Well, that was a 14-year-old boy. That was a real child. You're an adult. And then she tried to say, well, I'm sorry if he felt like I tried to assault him. You tackled the kid.
I need to know why. I need to know why her father wasn't just hooking off on her. That's what I need to know. I need to know why she wasn't getting hooked off on.
So I think that had the mother been there, that girl would have caught an ass whipping. I think the father, he was trying to defend his son, but he was showing restraint because he knows that if he whips this girl's ass, then everything's going to be about what he did to this poor little girl.
And he's a big guy too.
Yeah, so I think in that, because I'm trying to think, like, if I had been in that situation, I don't know that I would have been able to show the restraint that he did, because once she started touching my child, I don't know, but I think he handled it in a way that works out best for them, because they can't point to anything, and believe me, if they could, they would have.
Yeah, that's true.
She said he grabbed her, he pulled her hair, and he threw her.
Yeah,
I saw the video. Nah, that didn't happen.
Yeah, and to Gail's credit, she wasn't having none of that. Even the lawyer was sitting there, like, I think the lawyer was ready to recuse herself. And be like, ease in the way, because you see the lawyer like shaking their head, like, no.
I think the lawyer let a comment slip where she was like, "Yo, stop."
She did.
Stop talking. Would you stop talking?
All that stuff is admissible. So she told her not to wear that stupid hat too.
Man, look, it you know what? It's not even shocking. It's funny. But what pisses me off, honestly, is all of these people of color who are acting so shocked about this stuff. Like where have you been living? I need to know what dimension. I need to know what magical Negro land you've been living in, that you didn't know that racism was still around, that you didn't know that these people still hated you. I need to know what this magical Negro land is so I can go there. Because every single one of you that acts shocked, I want to punch you in the face.
I agree.
Even those who, she say she a person of color, but you still doing Karen stuff.
That's right. That's right.
And for me, people defending her, she got DUI, she got like another assault charge.
Something wrong with her. They had to drag her out of the police car.
Right.
When they went to arrest her. I think personally, Gail snitched. He said, she over here. After she did that thing in the camera, like, to her, like, that was it. But it's funny because Wednesday, when everything went down with the Capitol, so the following morning, for my school, we had a staff meeting. It was a regular morning meeting, and the principal was asking people's thoughts, and I'm of the age now where
the principal.
Principal's black. The principal's black. Okay. So it was just one of those things, because we were going to have to, kids were going to be asking questions. So we wanted to see how do we feel, after what we saw, And like I said, I'm of the age now where I just tell it like it is.
Right.
So and I said, all this about these this isn't us and all that stuff. I said, Black people have known for as long as we've been in this land that there are two different Americas.
Yeah.
And there's no surprise about this. Right. All are surprised because you don't have to live in two different Americas.
Right.
We've always had to navigate between, the America that we know and the America that they show. Yeah. So for Black folks, unless you are just willfully ignorant, none of this is surprising. In fact, I'm telling you, it was disturbing to see, but I literally, watched it like I was watching a TV program.
Right.
You know, give me the popcorn. I'm out of popcorn and tea. I need more tea because I sat there with my wife and said, we were like, oh my God, look at them. Oh my God, can you believe, the savagery, but this was entertaining because it's finally, America, watching America eat itself, actually, quite enjoyable, just as long as they keep that over there.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, we've seen this visited upon us in Wilmington, in Tulsa. Right. I mean, you go back through every city. There's been something like this where they come for us and destroy something we built. Now they're just doing it to themselves. So, like I said, if you're a person of color and you are asking these same stupid questions, like this one, I don't know what she is, congresswoman, senator, whatever. It's like, oh, I need my Republican colleagues to tell me, and I'm like, yo, stop with the nonsense. You work with these people every day. You eat with these people. You know who the hell they are. You part of the damn problem. Every time one of y'all get up there and feign shock and amazement at this, you're part of the damn problem. Okay, so stop with the nonsense. Stop playing these games like you didn't know this shit was gonna happen. You didn't know this was coming. We said this was coming 5 years ago, not 4, not 3, not 2, not 1, but 5 years ago. We told you this was going to be the end result of this Hitler light getting into office. So stop, okay? And if you're a person of color, I'm telling you, dude, don't come around me with that nonsense like, oh, I can't believe this is happening. Because I'm telling you, I'm busting out your fronts.
Yeah.
Right. And then I'm glad they banning Trump on old social media. So he can't get on his bully.
Look, I'm all for it. What really made me laugh is that, did you see these Trump supporters that were mad at Trump because they feel that he betrayed them? They were like, oh, we came all the way to Washington because you told us to come here and fight. And then you make this statement about criminal behavior and stuff, which was a statement that he made reluctantly. They made him make that statement anyway, but they were upset with Trump, and I said, you know what, y'all are grown adults. You made the choice. Nobody told you to come from wherever you would come from to go storm the Capitol.
Right.
Idiots, and then they get on TV and talking about we're mad because the election was stolen. No, you didn't give a damn about the election. Trump told you it was stolen.
But see, here's the thing, though, right? Yeah. So if the election was rigged, then the Republicans who won, they shouldn't be valid either, right? Because Republicans won some of these races. So which is it? Is it rigged? Is it rigged only when you lose, or is it? You know what I'm saying? I need to know.
Yeah, well, well, you're trying to inject common sense, and that's where you're going to run into problems all the time with this. Trump told you from before the election that if I lose, it's going to be because of X, Y, and Z, and these people bought all of that. And so now, none of this should be surprising to anybody, including them. And we still got the inauguration coming up. So they don't have their stuff together as far as what they're going to do to protect and make sure that this thing goes off without a hitch. Because these people are coming back because they're just that stupid.
But David,
do it again. Just won't be able to fly there.
Dave, were you in the service?
No.
Okay, I was in the service, and here's what I've known the entire time I was in the service. Every time there was a change in leadership, power, whatever term you want to use, bases there were alerts put out, this and that. Listen, they've always had these contingency plans for just in case something happens due to the change of power. So why they seem surprised, why they were caught off guard, bothers me, because trust me, there's a contingency plan for everything. They have plans for all of this. If this happens, if we see this type of chatter, this is what we're going to do.
This is not something that should be. Well, they have to come up with a plan. They already have. They've had plans since the 80s.
You're right.
Okay?
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. And the fact that they didn't leads me to believe that there's something more nefarious about the whole thing. Because
There you go.
Because if you didn't know, the man told you. Anybody that has been watching this man for the past 4 years, plus us in New York who've known him longer, going back to the 80s, he told you that he wasn't going to leave peacefully.
Listen, they've stopped.
Another thing.
They've stopped other terrorist attacks with far less information than they had on this one. Okay.
It's just true. You can't even get. I bet you couldn't even get into Mac's job as easy as they got into the Capitol.
No, you can't.
You go any of those buildings in Manhattan, especially after 9/11, you're not walking up in these places.
Man, listen, I got lost in D.C. One time because I was driving. I forget where I was driving, cross country somewhere. And in D.C., once you get in a certain part around D.C., it knocks down all the cell signals and everything else, so your GPS won't work. So you start driving in a circle, and it's hard to get off the damn to get where you got to go. So I had to get off the Beltway, and I went by one of the Fed buildings. I don't know which one. And they had the barricades out there, the concrete barricades, the whole nine.
Yeah.
And I literally had to stop like a block from where they were, walk halfway, and like, hey, I need to ask a question because I'm lost. Okay? Before they allowed me to come close enough to ask the question I need to ask. All right. So miss me with that they couldn't be prepared. They weren't allowed to be prepared.
That's right.
Right. Well, how were you received, Chandler, when you spoke to whoever you spoke to?
Once they saw that once I started saying, he said, okay. He said, yeah, I know. He said, that happens all the time. Don't worry about it. He said, get back in your car, do this, this, and this. But they still was looking at me like, yeah, and if you don't hurry up and leave, we might shoot you.
That's right. Exactly. So what I saw on Wednesday, leads me to believe definitely that they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, they did.
And half of the police force was right there with them.
And let them in.
Taking selfies.
Taking selfies.
Yep.
And see, here's the thing I haven't heard yet, because someone was killed, right? 2 people were killed, but that cop was murdered, right?
Yes, she was.
Mm-hmm. Now you talking about these people on no-fly list. No, they're all supposed to be charged as accessories before and after the fact. Yep. Since you don't know who did it, you got conspiracy to commit murder, you got accessory before the fact, you got accessory after the fact.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you don't want to say murder, you want to say manslaughter. Okay. Either way, every single one of them should be facing the charge of that, and also treason and sedition.
Yes.
And vandalism.
Yeah. Think about just if you want to look at it from a monetary standpoint, the damage that was done. And then the they wrote murder the media, and they attacking the media and destroying their equipment, thousands of dollars of equipment, all that. You can get them on a number of things.
If you put your hands on a postal worker, you still get charged as though you assaulted a federal employee.
That's right.
Same with a bus driver.
Yep. I was just
you killed a cop. Mm-hmm. You killed a cop. I don't want to hear. Yeah, yes, it's fun seeing the videos where they get removed from the planes. I want to see handcuffs. I want to see people behind bars. I want to see people having the cop pleas. I want to see them having to make deals so they can get 5 or 7 or 8, 9, 20 years probation, and they got the name like this person with me, that person with me. I want to see all of that.
I want to see all too. I want to see them. They talk about they lost this, they lost that. I want to see them really lose. There was one a video where they had the guy on the ground and he yelled out that they were treating him like a black person.
Yeah. Now he ain't been treated like a black person yet. Wait till they put you on probation and ruin your life, bro.
Or literally lose your life. Some of us have.
Right, because that's the way those encounters usually end.
Yeah. Wait till you can't get a job. No one will rent to you.
But these people are desperate to be oppressed. We want to be oppressed. That's what they out there chanting like somebody took their liberties. That's the problem. We out here fighting for our lives, and they're fighting because they think that they losing something.
Yeah.
Right. Well, fellas, this has been great. We went from football to politics, just like that. That's how it happens on Independent.
That's right.
This
This
is the
where to go.
right. This is the realest show in sports and life and politics because we talked about all of that. I want to thank David and Chandler for joining me. All will be back with us soon because I really don't like moderating. I'd rather just talk and cut y'all off like I do.
Exactly. So you can't do that, right?
I can't groove kill nobody. I got to sit back and let y'all talk.
Alabama 52-24, 7:45 left in the game.
Right.
So.
Right. So we'll be back on soon. This is In the Paint, the realest show in sports. Thank y'all for joining us. Peace.
Peace, brothers.